Red Tigers. This one went to overtime in Kyle. Did it go to overtime? No, it was a game winner at the end of regulation. My bad. I think. I just know yeah, cause what's his face hit a game winner. Mark Gordon hit a tough runner to win the game to put him up by two. I think with just like maybe 2 seconds left, and then um, it was kind of a controversial no call because Page shot a three. They had a really nice play to get a good look for the win. Page got it off and got just I mean he got rocked in my opinion, but there was no call, and so the Ballers ended up winning that game at home by what was the final score? 71-69. Could have been a different turn, but anyways, Ballers win. Jamie had 11. Jamie's been solid. Uh, Toot played very little minutes. It just kind of sucks for him because he's had that injury. Mark Gordon, 26 points, 7 rebounds. He was Mark. Richard Smith III had 22 and 17. That's crazy. All right, hold on. Chris is on the Zoom link. All right, here we go. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, great. I make sure everybody hear you. Hold on, let me just check. Make sure everybody here. All right. Can you guys hear? Can you guys hear us? Anybody drop it in the comments. Just let us know that you can hear the commissioner, please. I think there's a little delay, but we're good. I'm pretty sure the audio should be good.
Okay.
So we'll just go ahead and get started. What's up, Chris?
I'm good. How about you?
Not bad, man. I appreciate you joining me on this like spur of the moment thing. Today I reached out to you with a question, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna ask him if he want to jump on the live because I was like, why not?
It's funny, man. I was actually in a conversation earlier this week saying, I should do Richard Troyer's podcast
You
because
serious?
seriously, so the universe aligned in our favor, and you like asked me, and I'm like, I want to watch the Lakers game, but I would do this. I do it. All good. All
Yeah,
good.
I really appreciate that, man. Just I mean, I think how many years did you play in the league?
Only two.
Two,
Only
right? You
two.
did you play with No Limit or you played with? I know you played with Belmont Pan, right?
I played with Belmopan in the first year. It was a weird year. I don't even remember if we had a name. We had some weird green jerseys stuff. And then I played most of a season with Hurricanes, I think in like 2015, that
Okay,
season.
gotcha.
So
Um, then did you just like quit playing or you decided to go a different route or what happened?
old age happens.
Yeah, but you're not that old, Chris. How old are you? I should maybe I shouldn't ask you online, but you're not that much older than I am. I mean, yeah.
I think, just different life parties at different times. And, my son was born, and I guess dedicating that much time to it, it's just different priorities at the time. So
I totally get that because that's kind of the stage of life I'm in right now too. So I totally understand, man. So what made you want to even put your name in the hat for commissioner?
I don't know. Had a couple conversations with a couple people when the ad was out, and said, maybe this is something I could do. Maybe I could sort of bring different, sort of more business-minded perspective towards, the whole basketball. Because, part of me was wondering, like, why were they switching commissioners? Because I thought the league was going really well, getting some good traction and doing well. So I'm like, why? But anyway, maybe this is something I could do. I had At the time, there was flexibility in the schedule, and I guess you don't know what you don't know until you know it. So,
I can imagine, man. I know Karim personally. I think he did a great job as commissioner, and I think he just had it, like had enough. I mean, I think it's a very demanding position. I mean, on the outside, we might not. I don't think we get the responsibilities and the, how would I put it? Like the probably more the pressures, because I'm like a people pleaser, right? I don't
mhm.
like conflict. I think I'm getting a little better with that, but to be in a position like that, I think it requires someone with a very strong personality, and you're not afraid to not make friends or to make enemies, kind of thing, not that you really make enemies, but you guys might feel like it in the moment. So how has that been for you? How is that dealing with people, dealing with the owners, dealing with the players? How has that been?
It's been a tremendous sort of learning experience. You think you know about crisis management until you really have, a serious crisis or series of crises to deal with. But it's been a tremendous learning experience. There's no manual for this. There is like a terms of reference, but there's no instructions. I gotta say, like in the beginning, especially like during COVID and all those times, like, Karim was like a significant resource, a good advice. He provided a lot of guidance, a lot of help, and like, no, no, you'll be fine. Very encouraging. So we have a good relationship. He definitely was supportive and helped, but with everything you have to learn, you gotta figure it out, and definitely been a steep learning curve for me to figure it out, how I can best try and balance it out.
Yeah, I I mean, I feel for you too, because like to start out, it was with the whole Kirk Smith debacle, and like that's like you definitely could have had a smoother introduction to the position than something like that.
Yeah, you could say that again. That the lessons learned all around. I think all parties concerned would have definitely learned some lessons. I think the thing is that in every sporting league, there's some level of controversy. I think putting the guidelines in place properly definitely helps to mitigate. But there's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of investments on the line, and people feel passionately about certain issues. Each side had a lot of passion about how they felt, and there's real people involved in this thing, and so I think if you could survive that, you could survive almost anything. So it was definitely quite a learning experience to kick off sort of my formal term with.
Got you. Got you. Hold on one second, Chris. I think someone said that like your camera is really zoomed or something. So let me see if we can, yeah, just zoom out. I will see if that helps. Um, I'll see how it looks on my screen, and then we'll continue. All right. Um, I think we're gonna
It's
get.
too far or too close.
I think we're good. I think we're good. Maybe adjust it down just a hair. I'm trying to see on my YouTube feed. Um, all right, I'll see. I mean, I think we should be all right. At least they
Okay,
can hear you, even if they can't see you. They can hear you. All right,
all
I'm
good.
gonna go back here, and I'm gonna zoom you all over my page. That way we'll see. I think that should be all right. It's hard for me to see what they're saying and then have you, because I'm just sharing my screen. Um,
Gotcha.
what was the follow up question I was gonna ask? I kind of lost my train of thought. What? Okay, maybe this is what I was wondering. Like, what's the because everything that happens in the league, it's the commissioner's fault. So what's the hierarchy? Like, what's the how are decisions made? How are rulings made? Because I mean, I'm sure it's not a dictator system, but maybe you can
It,
kind of educate us on how that process works.
it is not their bylaws that sort of govern the play of the tournament, and commissioner's office is like the chief executive officer who runs the business arm of the league and also makes a lot of the administrative decisions. In fact, we changed our bylaws in the middle of the season. After everything you're learning on the go. So now each team actually sign a contract directly with the league to participate and abide by the rules and pay the fees to participate and also to abide by the bylaws. And we had a few meetings where we ironed out the new bylaws. Coming out of that, we also formed a disciplinary committee, which is like a first like a court of first instance, I guess. They look at basketball and non-basketball issues that are brought before. It's three members. There's a deputy commissioner, there's a member from the Referees Association, and there's an independent member who's the chairman. And now they're reviewing all of the complaints that are brought. Before, it was just brought sort of to the office of the commissioner, and we would review and make a decision based on the bylaws. Myself and the deputy commissioner would have reviewed and made certain decisions. So we changed that, and there's an appeals committee if you want to appeal. But I mean, these guys on the disciplinary committee, they're pretty thorough. We call everyone, speak to everyone. There's been a few rulings at the disciplinary committee since the formation, and so far, people probably upset, but
How
based
many
on video evidence and stuff.
how many people on the disciplinary committee?
Three persons.
Three people. Are those names confidential or?
No, they're not. They're not. So it's the deputy commissioner, who's Mr. Glenn Gill,
Mhm.
the president of the Referees Association, who's Mr. Dwight Cadle, or someone that he designates to fill in for him. Sometimes, because he's the president, but he's still actually officiating games too. So if he was actually involved, like, he would recuse himself and appoint someone else, like a designate. And then there's Mr. Daniel Fabre, who's actually the chairman of the disciplinary committee, and he's a former commissioner of the Semi-Pro League. Really, really cool guy, really helpful guy.
Okay.
Has been super helpful as well to the league.
You said the discipline. Like, when was the disciplinary committee like put together? It was just like in the middle of the season, or
Mid-season.
okay, and then all teams just agreed that this is now the
Yeah,
new way moving forward.
it is.
And I
We
think,
sign up.
yeah, I got some information today that they actually just made dished out a
A ruling, yeah,
suspension, right?
yeah.
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 You mind filling us in on what that was?
So there's like an incident that happened after the Defenders Hurricanes game, and they made rulings kind of suspending the people involved. So
Okay.
uh,
Yo, Colin, I'm no Chris. Because all right.
it's out there, man. It's out there. It's
Yeah.
out there. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I got that information today. I saw someone sent me a picture of the ruling, but see, like, I was completely unaware of the disciplinary committee or anything like that. But I think it's really good for you to educate the public on the way these things work, and that it's not just everything falling back. Really, I mean, you take heat for everything, and I think it's unfair in a lot of situations. The All-Star break. I know there's a lot of noise on Facebook. Why is the All-Star break so close to the playoffs? Because that's a concern for guys that are in the playoffs, of
Mhm.
playing any
I think we decided to move it. I kind of canvassed the owners, and it's funny because maybe at the time they said, "Oh, it's cool to move it," and now people are thinking about the same thing you're saying about the playoffs. But I think coming out of all we got off to not the best of starts. I think the good thing about it is, like, the fans and people on a whole were really supportive that basketball was happening again on a high level. And heading into Easter, I didn't know if we were ready. And I don't know, sometimes like I said, there's no training manual for this. You're learning as you go along. So we moved it to the end of the season. It's an exhibition match, so we're hoping that people are not going to go too hard in
Yeah.
terms of fouling each other and being ultra competitive. but that's when it's scheduled for the end of the season. We moved it from Easter. So
Will there be like a 3-point shootout, dunk contest, or anything like that, or is it
I think
just a
we
game?
might do a dunk contest depending on if the guys are willing to sign up and participate. So we're kind of working out the logistics of that. But the main focus at this time is just to have the All-Star game and kind of showcase the talent. We switched up the format. There's been a lot of talk about that
What's
as well.
what is the format?
So similar to what the NBA is doing now, you can go to the news site elitebasketball.bz and vote. The All-Star voting link is on the homepage, and you can vote across the five positions for your favorite All-Star. It was tough to kind of select five potential All-Stars from each team because you love to put everyone up there. But we kind of canvassed the manager and said, hey, this is what we're thinking, 1 through 5. It's non-intentional. We're there's a lot of good guys that are not in the nomination right now, and that's not any slight on them and their performance. There's a lot of guys that are six. If we had an official 6 man of the year, could come in and be that 6 man of the year, and we're looking at doing a rookie of the year award as well. So that's something that we're planning, and we'll do a vote on that among probably owners and some press people and do a vote for rookie of the year because there's a lot of guys that there's the main story and then there's the emerging story and who's up next or who's the key role players. You know how basketball goes.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. If I could recommend, I think you should do the 3-point contest over the dunk contest.
You think so?
I think,
Uh,
well, for one, especially given the situation, like, I mean, who are your high flyers in the league? You would think maybe Nigel Jones, which, given they make the playoffs, he's like a main guy. I think your best dunkers in the league would probably be your best players on the teams, but they would be reluctant to get in a dunk contest that close to the playoffs. However, like, I think they would all shoot, and I've heard too, like, just from my experiences, that sometimes the 3-point contest is almost more fun and more, engaging for the fans, kind of like. But
I got you.
yeah,
I got you.
just my 2 cents.
One thing you gotta listen. You gotta listen to advice. So I'm gonna discuss it with my team, and then we'll go from there. We'll go from there.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how everybody feels about that, but that's just my saying. But my last questions was just what there's been a lot of conversation as well on Facebook about, especially after last weekend, with the Hurricanes and the Defenders game, and then like someone made a post about, oh, they were all foreigners on the court, and there's like no Belizeans and stuff like that, and so I have strong feelings about some of those things. But what are your thoughts on parity of the league moving forward, and yeah, just maybe something, or yeah, do you have any ideas, or have y'all discussed anything?
I think we gotta start on sports development on a whole and how we do it in the schools in primary school. Um, that's where it starts. Generally we're competitive up until about the age of 12, and like if you look straight at like track and field athletics, and then when the coaching starts to make a difference, we're not so competitive anymore across sports. And I think it we look at the outcome and not the inputs that went into where we are now. I think our focus has to be on sporting development from the primary school, high school, and sixth form levels to get people used to that. There's a lot that we need to do in the country in terms of sporting development on a whole. I mean, playing in front of a crowd, that's a big thing. I'm sure you remember the first time you played in front of a real. There's high school crowds, and then there's like big crowds and people making a lot. Like some people play good at the park, they
Yeah,
can't miss in
yeah,
in in their local rim, and then when it goes somewhere else and there's like 200 or 1,000 people, it's a different thing. And I think it's the amount of reps that you have, the amount of at bats to use a different. It's hard to compete when you have um, people that have all that practice, and it's not only practice, it's perfect practice that makes
Perfect.
it makes a difference.
Yes.
I could go to the gym, right? And I could lift all these weights and try. And then if I have a trainer, I probably get better, a good trainer, I get better results. And I think kudos to all the coaches that are trying to elevate the level of talent and work with it. But I think we got to start much younger to get them into that kind of condition, and then have more local players doing something in the league.
Do you see it as any like as a responsibility of the league? Because I know in other leagues. I mean, thinking of maybe I think maybe in Bolivia or something, you have the league might have rules where it's, and I think someone mentioned this, made me think of it, but you might have, you're allowed two two foreigners on the court at one time. In our case, maybe it would be one American and then two Belizean Americans. So you can have as many as you want on the roster, but you can only play like say three at a time. So you have to have like two locals at a time. Like, do you see that as something?
I mean, that's a possibility, but I think administratively, even if you think put yourself in like a coach's shoe, it becomes difficult because you want to match up situationally, and you never know. I think the league tries with the limit on the amount of foreigners and then Belizean Americans. I think there's no limit to Belizean Americans, but I think you got to kick it back to some of the coaches as well in terms of developing role players for certain situations. If your strength is your athleticism and your defense, why aren't you using the person more in that role? And I think um, it's this is the first iteration after COVID, right? So
Yeah.
where everybody is learning, the refs are learning, the coaches are getting back, the players are getting back, and I think everybody started out a little slow, but the game's much more competitive and stuff. I think when it comes to the Belizeans, I think one of the things that we had in mind as a league was to actually work on a summer league. We had teased at doing it, and then we didn't get the full participation, but perhaps that's something we could do that's all local, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a summer, but an off-season tournament, a couple of weekends where we showcase the local guys that are kind of up next. I think that's something that you know the guys could look forward to, and a chance to kind of showcase like who can do something. Because to be honest, I mean, some of the stories that I like are some of the local guys that are really stepping up out of nowhere. You have like Guy Lopez from Belmopan. I see him playing, and I mean, it's hard because you're in the commissioner's chair and you got to be unbiased and stuff. But I
Yeah.
wish I was and say, yo, shoot, man, stop deferring.
Yeah.
you know, you've done all the work, you might as well shoot, kind of
Yeah.
thing. There's a lot of local talent that is there, and I think the more experience they get, the more we're going to showcase them. It's unfortunate that Devin got injured
Yes.
in the at PG because he really featured well. He was working hard to get in shape for the season, and he was playing really well in the games that I saw him play, and we all
Yes.
saw him play, and that was unfortunate. I saw like Akeem from Hurricanes got injured as well. He's not playing anymore. So, but he was doing well as a sort of defensive specialist and cleaning up on these offensive rebounds. I saw, he was playing well.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yeah, I don't think it's for lack of talent that our local guys don't play. I think it is for lack of skill. And it's two different things. Like I think Belizeans on a whole athletically are extremely talented. But when it comes to being skillful, that's where we kind of fall short. I'm just gonna say this, like for the guys in the chat, if you guys have any questions, we're gonna wrap this up pretty soon because we know there's a game coming up that the commissioner. So
I'm still
no.
good for a while, Richard. I'm still good
All
for a
right,
little
yeah. So
while.
we're gonna take questions, guys. So if you have questions, drop it in the chat. I'm gonna jump over there and check it out. But I wanted to throw this out there because my uncle is him and Bernie Tar are kind of running the Belmopan Red Tigers. Esteban.
Mhm.
He's and this morning he reached out to me and he mentioned something that I found extremely interesting when he talked about a luxury tax, like kind of like the NBA does, and I thought that would be very it would be an interesting perspective. It'd be an interesting look because his point of it was that like Belmopan, PG, these teams like that can't afford like all the talent, they struggle to make ends meet come later on in the year. But if you had if I just briefly like searched out how the NBA luxury tax works, and I think the tax is then distributed to the rest of the teams that might have a lower salary cap. I mean, would that be? How does that sound to you? Or like, I mean, obviously you're not gonna say
I
yes.
think
That's but
I think it's hard for us to we in another sense we got to think about where we are at this point in time, and then we're comparing ourselves to a league that's been established for 50 years. In their early days, they were probably a lot of teams struggling, and they have much bigger markets with people with deeper pockets. um Administratively, that's difficult to work. I mean, just working with 8 different owners or owner groups, and each of them have different styles and ways that they do business, and it's not uniform.
yeah,
So,
uh,
I think it's easy to say luxury tax, and when I say bring in X, Y, and Z, there's some challenges. I think that's the direction we have to go in terms of seeing how we can work together a bit more. But I think, it's for the owners to sort of um, continue to develop, continue to learn how to work with each other. That's the most important thing, because at the end of the day, I want to see financial sustainability for all the teams. I think that's super important, that you at least break even, because no matter how much you love something, you're not gonna continue. How long are you gonna continue to take financial losses?
yeah,
Um, that's something that has to be addressed at each franchise level. How do we get them to financial sustainability? Um, I don't know if the luxury tax solves that immediately, but it's a discussion.
yeah,
We did talk about salary caps, but one thing, the league doesn't have staff to monitor and 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 deal with all of that. So it's
yeah.
it's it's a
That's tough.
challenge. So, but it's
Um,
something to discuss going forward,
yeah,
because we want to see that parity.
yeah,
And if I could add one more thing, I don't think that it's a gap of talent between the teams, because I see like PG, some of their players have left, and but some of the guys they have are talented. Belmopan has extremely talented guys as well. So there's other things that might be affecting the ability to win, apart from funding. Funding helps
yes,
for sure, but there's always those teams like the Yankees don't win every year, Chelsea doesn't win every year, Real Madrid doesn't win every year. So the big money teams don't necessarily win every year. It's you know
yeah,
how
yeah.
that.
That's not the telling factor. I mean, it might help, but yeah, it doesn't make you you still defeatable. The one thing that I just personally had that I thought might help that I would like to see is maybe
Mhm,
a limit on Belizean Americans per team, because I think Belizean Americans are more affordable,
mhm,
but they're a great asset to a team, and personally I would like to see Belizean Americans, maybe two per team, or yeah, like two per team. Two Americans, two Belizean Americans. That gives you four guys. You got to your fifth guy has to be a local. I think that might be a simple thing just from my perspective, because I look at Hurricanes and they have all the guys practically all like so many Belizean Americans, you know. But kudos to them. I mean, they went out and got them. So there's Belizean Americans that I never heard of. Like I never heard of Vic, and he's great. So yeah, kudos to them. All right, let me jump over in the chat, Chris, and see if I can see any questions or what's going on over here. Hmm. Someone asked about the stats. What's up with the missing stats? Any word on that?
we're changing over to the new website at the moment. Um, So we're moving the stats over to Elite Basketball dot BZ, and that's what we're doing at this time.
Okay.
So just a transition week. Everybody's been asking about it. So
Yeah.
trying to migrate everything over to the new website.
Awesome. I really like the new the new website. It's pretty sharp.
Working on it. BK Creative did the design. We got a lot of photos from Nadir Price. So shout out Nadir Price. Really, really good photos.
Yes.
Uh, Definitely give credit where credit is due. So
All right. I don't look like nobody have a whole lot of question. It's good for you. Maybe you answered everything.
maybe, maybe
Will the All Star be purely in the fan vote? Like, will it be selected purely from the fan vote?
for the All Stars, yes,
Okay, so it
yes.
all depends on fans voting. So, guys, get out there and vote for your favorite player. I'm
I think I
surprised.
might post some updates tomorrow on where we are in terms of who's leading and stuff.
Okay,
It's interesting. I haven't looked at it today yet, but it's interesting.
all right. Who runs the BEBL page? I've seen some. Like, I don't know. Is there an effort to make that a little more up to date?
We do have a social media manager who's working on it. They don't answer all the time, but they answer.
All
So
right, cool.
yeah.
Yeah, Garvin Gaynor, the guys that you familiar with him? He
Yes,
said
yes,
we
yes.
just want the stats back. That's what he's about. So
Yeah, yeah,
he was
he's been on me about the stats on some of the older stats. So I gotta sort of download the CSVs and email them to him. It's just one thing to the next, but I'll get it. The stats aren't lost.
good,
They're just not
good,
showing.
good. All right, let's see if anybody else got any questions for the commissioner because I'm gonna let him go here soon. Oh, let me see if there's anything on Facebook. Mm, no, I don't see anything. So I think unless anybody got any more questions, I think we're good. Man, I really appreciate you coming on, Chris, and taking time out of your evening on such short notice and getting on. And I feel privileged that I was able to. I told my wife I mean, I feel good. I was like text up the commissioner, and the commissioner come on. I said, what?
Hey man, I always happy to come on and have a chat. I think I think it's interesting. The race for the top is interesting. A lot of controversy about the standings this weekend. That was a controversy. Who's in second place? Like I had to go and read all of the FIBA rules about how do you officiate a three-way tie,
Oh,
uh, and why? Because the ranking, the way that is ranked is set out by FIBA, where you get point system where it's two for a win, one for a loss, and zero for a forfeit. That's one thing. And then you if you have a tie, you do the head to head. And if you're tied, the head to head first measures points. So like in Orange Walk and Dan Riga's case, they split the head to head. They both have 3 points. They won one and lost one. But because there's a three-way tie on points, right? And Dan Riga beat Hurricanes, the next differentiating factor. You see that look? That was me. That was me. And so then you go to points differential in group. There's only one group. There's not like you see how they have Eastern Conference and Western Conference or Group A and Group B. We have one. Everybody's in the same group. So it's points differential. That's the next separating factor. But yeah, like I said, every week I learn something.
wow.
So
I got a couple more questions here. He says, how will the games like I guess San Pedro? I know San Pedro is behind on a couple of games. How will those be made up?
they're scheduling the game with the Hurricanes. I think tentatively that's the 13th. I think that's the date Rico had mentioned to me. So that's tentatively scheduled, and I'm trying to close the game with the Belmopan back match. And to be honest, if we don't schedule that soon, I'm gonna call a forfeit on that because it's been a lot of back and forth trying to get a weekend that or a time that everybody can
Yeah,
work with. So
yeah, that's
San
tough.
Pedro has a lot of issues with their court.
Yeah,
You know,
that leads me into the next question. It says, can the league continue with the San Pedro court situation?
I it's tough because the brand of the Tiger Sharks is strong.
Yeah.
People love them and love to hate them.
Yeah.
Rico Black is a really interesting character. He's cool guy, nice to deal with. And then the Tiger Sharks, they always bring it. They always play with a level of intensity. So they do add some spice to the league. It's not so easy to say get rid of the Tiger Sharks, but there
Yeah.
are some that court and it definitely created a lot of issues for us this season.
Yeah. Garvin wants to know what's the rules for a new franchise, like for a new franchise to enter the league. What are the
I think
requirements or rules?
that firstly is an off-season kind of decision, discussion, and what we do is sort of have the discussion with the owners, and kind of ventilate it because those are the guys who've invested their time, their finances, their effort, their sweat, and see if we want to add it. I think what they're trying to do is keep it at one per municipality or population center. So like adding a second team, like Belize City has 70,000 people, give or take. So there's two teams here, but to put a second team in a municipality might be a bit of a challenge because you're competing for the same fan base, the same sort of market. But the league is open to expansion and we'll happy to have that discussion. There's quite a few people that are approaching the league to say, hey, we're interested. So those discussions will happen in the off season, and it's very likely that we'll have an additional franchise in 2024.
Okay. Oh, good stuff, man. All right, I'm gonna let you go. I really, like I said before, I just want to express my appreciation for you coming on and sharing, man. It's really good to talk to you and just kind of hear your side of what's going on behind the scenes and how it's been for you. I think sometimes we get what do you call it? Like we talk about the commissioner and we don't see the person. You know what I'm saying? We don't
Right.
think of the person behind
Yeah.
that
I
title,
I I,
and so
I love the they're like memes. They're like it's the ghost commissioner. One of my friends said, "You can't run the league like a lodge, you know." Like so I said, "It's not a secret thing."
oh man.
Unintentional, man, unintentional, just focusing on getting the work done in the background and keeping the focus. I think my thing is that the focus should be on what's happening in between the lines. And
Yeah.
I'm in the background. Whoever holds his office is in the background. It's not like WWE. I'm not trying to be Vince McMahon in the front. I'm just trying to, keep the focus on the players and I think we'll be all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Good deal, man. Well, again, thanks, Chris. I
All right,
hope
man. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening, man.
you too. You too. I hope the Warriors win. But anyways.
Cheer at the end of the podcast. Good, good. All right, man. Have a
Yeah.
good one.
Take care, bro. All right, people. That was fun. Really appreciated the commissioner coming on. So I don't know if I have anything really to add, y'all. I'd go over stats, but I think that was the highlight of my evening. Getting to talk to him. I want to say big thank you to him again for coming on, guys. This was brought to you. You know how TNT used to have the segment Ernie's Neato Stat of the Night, brought to you by nobody. Well, this is brought to you. This interview with the BEBL commissioner was brought to you by Richard Schroyer Basketball. So subscribe to the channel. I think I only got like 3 subscribers. There's 11 people watching this right now. Every one of you got to subscribe to the channel, man. I'm gonna build something here that'll be like an educational platform for players that want to do what I did, or just players that want to get better at basketball. I'm looking to build something, that look back on my career and what got me from being a farm boy in a third world country to playing Division 1 basketball and then playing professionally and getting paid to play the game. So I want to build something to help those behind, and it's my way of, I guess, giving back in a way. But yeah, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading more content here. Um, you can check out my website too. I'll have links in the descriptions of my videos and stuff. But until next time, y'all. I appreciate the those that jumped on and watched this edition. Shoot. Oh, predictions. Dude, this Anthony Burns. I appreciate that. Yeah, if I don't do stats, I still got to do predictions. Oh, man. And it's a tough week, too. So I was terrible last week. Y'all know this. I was terrible last week. Let me switch my view here. Last week, PG didn't play, but so I guess I got the forfeit win there. But I picked the Defenders over the Hurricanes. That didn't work out. I picked San Pedro over Orange Walk. That didn't work out. So I guess I was 2-2, right? Because I did pick the Ballers to win. I did pick Kyle to win. So all right, let's see. Let's go to the new website and see the games coming up. This is nice. All right, the Belmont Pine Red Tigers against the PG Panthers at the UB Gymnasium. I'm going with the Belmont Pine Red Tigers. All right, Orange Walk. This one's going to be big. Orange Walk Running Rebels versus the Belize City Defenders. Man. At the Orange Walk Multipurpose Complex. I'm going to go with the Defenders. I'm going with the Defenders. I'm high on the Defenders. Like, I feel like the Defenders got some dog in them, man. And I've been kind of riding this. Like, I've picked against the Defenders during the course of the year. Like, I mean, I think I picked maybe 2 or 3 weeks straight against the Defenders, but like people I think got that twisted that I'm not high on the Defenders. I feel like the Defenders are or can be a championship team. So I'm just putting that out there. Like, that's just kind of how I feel. Orange Walk Rebels, Belize City Defenders. The Orange Walk surprised me last week. I picked against them last week. I feel it's a tough one to pick against them again at home. But I feel like the Belize City Defenders, their backs are against the wall, kind of, and I feel like they got some dog in them. So I'm going with the Defenders, San Pedro Tiger Sharks versus the Western Ballers on the island. I don't know if I've ever picked against San Pedro on the island. So if that tells you anything, I'm going with San Pedro. Then we got the Belize Hurricanes, the game of the week, in my opinion, I guess. I don't know, that Orange Walk game might be a game of the week, too. But we're going with the Belize City Hurricanes versus the Griga Dream Ballers. The Griga Dream Ballers have not won a major game on the road. So I'm sorry, Griga. I love y'all, but I got to go with the Hurricanes on this one because y'all need to show me something. You need to show me something. All right. So those are the picks. One more time for the record. We're going with the Belmont Pine Red Tigers, Orange Belize City Defenders, San Pedro Tiger Sharks, and the Belize City Hurricanes. All right, man. Oh, you know what? One more thing I did want to discuss a little bit was the MVP race, man, because this thing has showed up on Facebook, having Victor Evans like in the runnings, and I can't say I disagree. He's been like, I think there was a course during like there was a stretch during the year where he was, I don't know if he was hurt. There was one game he didn't play. I don't know. There was a couple games where I feel like he didn't insert himself. Like, he was not assertive. But the last game, to me, he has all the tools to be that, to be an MVP. He's really, he's a really talented player, a very skilled player, I guess I should say. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting coming down the stretch, and I'm really excited to see what goes on. I appreciate y'all jumping on, y'all. It was short notice for the commissioner, but like I said, today I messaged him, asked him a question. It was probably like around noon, and then he got back to me around 3:00, and I'm like, hey, you want to jump on the live tonight? And that's how it happened. So I really didn't finalize that till like 30 minutes, 45 minutes before going live. So I appreciate those who caught it. You can always catch the recording. I'm gonna upload this video to YouTube. I'll share it on Facebook. Again, like, subscribe, share, comment, do whatever you got to do. I appreciate y'all. Engagement helps. God bless y'all. Till next time. Peace.